Hello, hello, Tenno. Welcome to Strength One's Lessons on Warframe, part one of what I call this series. Let's start Warframe. All right, so when you first start, you're going to be introduced to the Orbiter, and you are going to actually you're going to be shown with two different quests, I should say. Not really the Orbiter, but yeah, you're going to have two different quests on here. To start with, you're going to either have the Awakening, which is basically you just starting the story, seeing how everything works. And you also have the side quest choice, excuse me. Well, which one is it? Where are you? Well, it's one of them anyway. Hang on a sec. Ah, here we go. The other quest that you have
This
is right
reminds
here.
the operator to take time for themselves. Pressure creates diamonds, yes, but it also creates rubble.
Anyway, you'll have the choice to do the lone story of the very paradox. Personally speaking, I would do this one first, only because you'll get this out of the way. It is about 2.5 to 3 hours. You'll learn how to control the drifter. You'll learn how to control your own horse. Blah blah blah. You learn about the circuit. Also get your first warframe as well. They even do a tutorial. Um, Basically different than the awakening. Now, that's the first thing you do, and eventually you're going to continue to have work quests such as with War's Prize. Where is it? Right here. The War's Prize. And afterwards, you might get Side's Vigil, Vox Solaris. These are all of the quests that you have to do in order for you to basically have the entire game to be completed. Now, the other thing that you also should look for are mods. Mods are what makes you strong, they keep you alive, and they help you do damage. But the other part when it comes to having these said mods are also the weapons and the warframes that you should consider on using when you first start the game. Now, if you look at this trade chat here, you're going to see people just asking for willing to trade, willing to buy. Don't use it. It's best if you use Warframe.market, which is basically a third-party system where players who want to trade, excuse me, certain weapons, certain modifications, you name it, they'll trade it for a lot cheaper than what they have on here. Over here, it's basically a death sentence when you're a brand new player and you don't want to go through that. The other part I also want to mention is that here in the recruiting chat, you can find players to help you out. You can find players to recruit you for a new clan. Um, Everybody's very nice on here when it comes to farming. And then this chat here are for players who want to know what are the best ways just to get their stuff done. And everybody's going to answer each other back. Um, yeah. But yeah, here you'll have your mods. These are all the mods that I have. You'll have Parazon mods, ribbons for weapons that you have, duplicates in case you want to get rid of them, and you get rid of them like this. Um, and you'll get duplicates of mods over time, so you don't have to worry about that much. You have mods for your railjack, which you'll have later on in the game. Mods for your robotic or beast companions. Mods for your arc melee, arc gun, and even your vehicles or your um your arc wing itself. Exilus mods, which are basically, I want to say, buffs to help out your weaponry or help out your warframes as well. Stance mods for your melee weapons, melee, your secondary or pistol, your primary weapon, and augments, which basically change up the weapon, the arc wing or the warframe that you have. Aura mods for your railjack or warframe, and last but not least, the warframe mods. Now, the other part you should look for, eventually when you have your first pets, before you even get your first pet for that matter, when you get to a certain time period where you say, hey, okay, maybe I can buy something to help myself out. Um, is he in the market? Hang on.
All set. Serviced your weapons myself.
Yeah, Orders is going to talk to you a lot. But um, when you go into the market, don't panic. Don't look at like, oh goodness, look at all this nice stuff or whatnot. Just don't. Um, it's going to be there. A lot of times they may say a limited time, but it's going to be there until eventually it might change. This will go on in about a month. But don't just go for the cosmetics what's in there. Go for certain things that may help you out over time. Say, for example, a companion. The Taxon is the first one that you can go for, the cheapest one to build, and will be by your side the entire game. Well, as long as you possibly can get it. Get it going, I should say, excuse me. Eventually we'll have a chance to get, like I said, weapons are on here. You have all different ones that you can choose from. Yes, most of them do cost platinum, but they also lock you behind mastery rank. Mastery rank basically just says, hey, you did pretty good. You're leveling up your warframes, you're leveling up your weaponry. Let's test to see what you know. And don't panic, because if you fail it, you can always try again immediately. That's one other thing you can do. Excuse me, my mouth is dry. The next part on here you can talk about as well is the Nightwave.
Now you might be wondering if I'm holding back on y'all. Dreamers.
The Nightwave basically is our free battle pass, and we set on February the 6th. But the Nightwave allows you to do different missions where basically you get credit, or credits that can be used for or cred that can be used for this stuff right here. So say, for example, for me, I can use this on the internet extracts. Voila. I am winning the extract in case I want to build something. You can use it for cosmetics as well. That's all up to you.
Coming up next.
The battle pass usually lasts for, I want to say, 4 to 6 months. Because I think this one we had started around, where did it start? October or November? But yeah. Then, once you complete the tutorial, you start what we call the star chart. Earth, everything's all connected. Earth going to Venus, Venus going to Mercury, and Earth going to Mars, Mars going to either Deimos or Phobos, Phobos going to the Void, well, Mars going to Ceres, Ceres going to Jupiter, Jupiter going to Europa and Saturn, Saturn going to Uranus, Uranus going to Neptune, Neptune going to, once again, the Void, Neptune also going to Pluto, Pluto going to both Eris and Sedna, and Sedna going once again to the Void. Yeah, the Void has 4 different connections, excuse me. That's where all the corrupted live. And also, when you go to any planet, say for example Earth, and when you go to different missions that you've already unlocked or taken care of, you can see the suggested damage. Say for example this one here, but it says impact and corrosion. I'll talk about that on another day when it comes to different elements. What else is I can say? Oh, you also be at Cetus. One of the first, I want to say, open worlds that you could explore. You can fish, you can do bounties. Same thing here in Venus. Or Valis, fish and do bounties. Deimos, again, fish and do bounties. So, over here is the dojo where you can actually join a clan. The clan that I have is run by a friend of mine. but I am still trying my best to recruit. You may join me at any time. Just send me a message and I'll let you in. Um, yeah, that's the gist of the beginning portion of it. Um, but yeah, don't sweat as to whether or not you can do the most damage in the world. Don't sweat when it comes to, um, like someone said, I love Warframe. Don't sweat when it comes to not getting yourself up to par. But I will tell you this: there are five, I want to say, main Warframes that you should look for. The first one I would say is Titania. Think what about uses? Uses Titania Prime here is very best when it comes to doing exterminate missions because of how fast she flies. That's one for basically a support. The second one I would go for is Kullervo, who is a melee focused warframe that has great survivability. The third one I would go for when it comes to farming is Core Prime, who is very useful when it comes to grouping enemies up. Has her own skill where she can basically, you know, they call it Strangle Dome, where enemies will just die over time. But at the same time, if you have the right build, you can get more loot out of the situation. And last but not least, my other recommended one is Zaku, who is basically an amalgam of multiple frames at once, and yes, isn't it, um, can basically be a bit of a DPS, but with the right build, you only have to worry about it being the DPS the whole time. Um, as I said, you can use mods when it comes to making your Warframe stronger. Um, as you can see here, and I'll explain the modding process on a different video. All right. That concludes our first lesson on basically speaking as a Warframe. And I hope you have a wonderful night. Good day.